Happy Tuesday, Vol Nation. The question we've all asked is, can this Tennessee Vols football coaching staff close? Can they close on their top targets in this cycle? Well, we got one answer just a little bit ago. Brayden Rouse, linebacker out of Georgia, is a Tennessee volunteer. Make sure you hit that like, that share, hit that subscribe button. It is free. Let's first get this thing to 4,200. We're about 30, give or take, away from it. Rouse is in the fold. That was one of those recruitments when I sit and watch the announcement. You kind of just have that feeling in your stomach, not knowing what's going to happen. They played this one close to the vest. It seemed this whole time that Tennessee had done their job. And it was like, what more could Tennessee do on this one? Texas, there were some teases put out today. Hayes Fawcett, he's a national writer. He puts out just kind of a meme of a Longhorn. Got a lot of people talking, and it doesn't take much for Tennessee fans to start jumping off the ledge at that point. A lot of people are already saying, well, this staff can't close. They can't get the big one in the fold. And as a matter of fact, too, this was commitment number 2 on the day. Javonte Smith, defensive back, wide receiver out Jackson, Tennessee, in the fold. Heck of an athlete. Got him as well. And, unfortunately for him, I think his commitment gets overshadowed on this. And that's something I'll probably do something separate, just kind of talk about him a little bit later. But this staff right now, they are starting to hit their stride in recruiting. And you're getting into that stretch where your main guys are starting to make those commitments and those dates. Now, some of them's going to wait. We're still looking at, Keys, Hyder. Keys, of course, is still technically committed to LSU, but based on what I've seen, that at any time may not be the case. Keys, Hyder, I think that's unmistakably that's your 1 and 2. That's your 1 and 2. That's your 2 big guys there. Then you got, in no particular order, Darius Gray, Joel Wyatt. You had Brayden Rouse, which was a big one as well. Craig Tutt. That's just a few off the top of my head, and I'm probably forgetting some as well, as I know they're in on numerous defensive linemen also. But getting Rouse in the fold, this linebacking crew, and I had some yesterday say, well, we're good there. Not in this portal era. You're not good at any point. We had linebackers leave last year after the season was over. And we saw 2 last year. Once Keenan Pili went down, all of a sudden that linebacking room is a little thin. And some of those guys who were playing big minutes were all of a sudden, left. There were guys left for the bowl game or the playoff game last year. The talent they have accumulated in that room, and you keep adding to it now with Rouse, with TJ White, with Braylon Outlaw. You keep adding talent like that. William Inge, again, I give Brian John Marie credit because he took that when Josh Heupel got the job. Brian John Marie took over that linebacking room. He didn't have a lot to work with. Let's face it. All right, it's kind of the old. I'm not going to go there because it's a bad comparison. Let's just say that they had to move guys around. There were guys that hadn't played a lot and stuff, and they had their moments with that unit. But the thing he continued to do is recruit and continue to build that room. And I think it got to that point before he went back to Michigan. I think it was a good transition. We're going to find out more this fall because last year, obviously, when Pili went out, Arion Carter, Jeremiah Telander, Caleb Perry, some of these guys were pushed into action. Of course, Perry is gone. There was one of the other guys who was playing some too that left for the playoff game as well. But now we'll see this year, does that experience take him to the next level? And then you got guys like Edwin Spillman. You had Burns. And then, guys coming in, Harmon, Perlotti, Ames along the way. This is starting to look like a big-time linebacking room. And to do that, you got to get big-time talent, and you got to develop them as well. It was said that this one came down between Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, and Michigan. I really think when it was all said and done, this was a Tennessee-Texas battle. And again, hats off to them. This was kind of an old school recruitment where, a lot of times the last few years since these websites have come up with the crystal ball projections, you start seeing those rolling out. And it really, when those commitments get made, it's not a surprise. This one, though, it was said the whole time that Tennessee had done about as well as they could. They had built that relationship with them. And, they talked about it in the article with Matt Ray of allquest.com. One of the big things that they talked about was the incredible relationships. And Rouse's father, he told VolQuest, he said that they recruited the entire family on it. We can sit and say, I guess it's easy for me or anybody else to sit and say, well, this staff's not aggressive enough. But they have their approach. And, maybe there's certain recruits fit it, and maybe certain recruits do not fit that. And I don't think that means that if a recruit doesn't fit it, they're a bad kid or family. I don't mean that by any means on there. Sometimes things mesh. Sometimes things jive. It's the same with Rick Barnes in the Tennessee basketball program. He and Nate Ament. Barnes maybe been hitting portal a little more last couple years, but he went all in on Nate Ament, and it just meshed. Sometimes things just mesh. And I think that was the case in this one as well. And just recruited the family. They had been on them for a long time. I talked about William Inge, how well that, he recruited them as well. And, again, they recruit them as human beings and not just barbarians or football players. And he talked about Josh Heupel, too, talked about how just down to earth, really liked him as well. So, again, we can sit here and judge his staff based on how they close, and that's ultimately how they're going to be judged on it. But they're going to get guys. They're going to get guys. They're going to miss on guys. And I think that the same can be said for any staff. Now, you could flip that script on Texas. They wanted Brayden Rouse really bad. Guess what happened? They come in second on that one. And I'm not like talking trash or nothing to them on that. I'm just saying that script can go both ways with it. This is the first in, I thought getting Albert and TJ White last week was big too. You got those two guys in the fold. Now you get Rouse. This defense is not going anywhere for a while. They continue to build with top-notch prospects along the way. This was a big one. Now you get, again, it's going to come down to ultimately, what's this class going to be judged on? Savion Hyder, Tristan Keys. Let's face the facts. That's everybody's wish. People have even forgotten about Faison Brandon, I think, at this point. And him, in sub publications, number one overall here. He's the big fish, but this class is ultimately going to get judged on Hyder and Keys. That's where it comes down to. If you get those guys, everybody's going to be tickled to death with it. But we'll see how that goes. Staying on tonight, though, I'm ecstatic that you get Brayden Rouse in the fold because that narrative was already out there the last couple of days. And again, I've mentioned it too. I've mentioned it numerous times. I'm asking the question, can this staff close? And they closed. They closed. They got the job done. That was big. And especially when that narrative is out there. And again, when you read message boards and stuff, they tend to overreact a little bit. And we already had people yesterday and today already throwing the towel in. Staff can't recruit. They can't get the job done. Lead the whole time. Yada, yada, yada. It's like I always say, I saw it in basketball numerous times this year. Let it finish out. Let it finish out. Yeah, we all kind of get those feelings of here we go again. But it ain't over till it's over. That's just the bottom line on it. Tennessee, now, with that said, you can bet Texas is going to continue recruiting him. It's recruiting. It's not signing day yet. So they'll have to keep recruiting and get him in the fold. The key is going to be this fall where you see these guys visiting. If you're seeing Brayden Rouse in Knoxville pretty much every weekend, we're good. If you see him, and this is for any price, it's not just Rouse. You see him start to visit these other campuses, that's when you might be like, okay, we got something going. You get that visit like David Sanders last year up and takes one just to be sure to Ohio State, and thank goodness that one worked out. But, if kids are still visiting other campuses, their recruitments are still open. That's the bottom line. Big win for this staff today with Brayden Rouse. And again, Javonte Smith gets overshadowed today, but a good athlete, a good pickup. Again, when you're going to this 105-man roster, you can get athletes in, and hopefully they'll want to stick around and work and build up. And sometimes you get these guys that come in just totally underrated as well. We've seen it numerous times. I mean, Cam Sutton's, Inky Johnson's, just, off the top of my head, that can come in and do something from day one on that. But keep you posted on anything else. I'm not sure when right now the next commitments are coming. I know Joel Wyatt pushed his back. Craig Tutt, I'm pretty sure, is coming up. But based on what I've been reading, that's trending Ole Miss. Can Tennessee rebound on that? Again, Keys, I mean, there's nothing there. He's technically still committed to LSU. Hyder has teased announcing an announcement. So we'll see on that. Darius Gray, I think from what I've seen, is down to a final 3. Shabazz, the offensive lineman Shabazz, he announces Friday. That's it. Tennessee, Ohio State, South Carolina is the final 3 for him on that one. And, based on what I've seen, Tennessee's got a good shot on it. Not saying they're the favorite, but, based on what I was reading today, they do have a shot on that one. So keep you posted on that. Of course, still waiting on that baseball commitment. There's a baseball commitment coming. We just don't know when it's going to happen because we got the Ross Kivett bomb 2 nights ago. So is it Brody Purcell? Is it Ethan Conrad? I've seen a guy by the name of Mark Hendy, I think is how you pronounce it, from Duke. We'll find out who it is in due time, I guess. But guys, have a great rest of your evening. Frank, House of Orange, I'll see you when I see you.